Chosen ones, the same people who once dismissed your intuitive hits as lucky guesses, were now actively trying to minimize your presence, their fear barely disguised behind forced smiles and overly formal emails. You don't argue. You don't try to convince anyone. You simply write it down. Next week's events, detailed before they happen, clear as a roadmap, certain as the sun rising, no hesitation, no second guessing. Just a quiet knowing that settles deep in your bones, something beyond logic, beyond explanation, and they see you do it. At first they dismiss it, a lucky guess, a coincidence, a trick of probability. But then the week unfolds. Every detail, every shift, every turn, exactly as you wrote, not one thing out of place. The words on that page weren't speculation, they were a mirror reflecting a future that hadn't yet arrived. They read it again and again. Their eyes trace your handwriting, searching for the flaw, the gap, the mistake that isn't there. You proved them wrong without lifting a finger, and that's what shakes them to the core. When you spoke in the meeting, they scoffed. Your voice was steady, your insight sharp. You saw the collapse before it started, the flaw in their perfect plan. You warned them, not out of ego, not for control, just the truth, simple and unshaken, but they didn't want your truth. They exchanged glances, smirks hidden behind coffee cups. Their hands waved you off. That's not how this works. We've done this before. We know better. Their minds needed you to be wrong, because if you were right, that meant something else, something terrifying. But then the days passed, and one by one, the pieces crumbled. The deal fell through. The wrong hire made the wrong move. The prediction you made in passing, so casual, so effortless, became their reality. Skepticism turned to silence, and in that silence, something else took shape, fear. They don't know what to do with you. You're not loud. You don't force your vision onto them. You just see, and they don't know how to process that. They're used to controlling information, controlling perception, controlling outcomes. But how do you control something you don't understand? How do you silence someone who never needed words to prove a point? They feel exposed, like children caught in a game they didn't realize they were playing. And the worst part, you weren't playing at all. They need things to make sense, to fit inside a box, to follow the rules they understand. You are the exception to everything they thought they knew. They watch you, trying to figure it out, trying to explain you away, but they can't, because what you do isn't written in their textbooks. It isn't something they can calculate, predict, or control. You see through them. The smile that doesn't reach their eyes, the hesitation before a lie, the subtle shift in energy when their intentions change. Before they even act, you already know. And that terrifies them, because if they can't fool you, they can't control you. They test you. Small things at first, white lies, half-truths, careful omissions, just to see if you'll catch it. And you always do. You don't even need to say anything. It's in the way your gaze lingers, the way you pause for a second too long. They feel exposed before you ever open your mouth. So they shift, adjust, try again. Maybe it was just luck. Maybe you overheard something. Maybe they were too obvious. But then it happens again and again, until they can't ignore it anymore. They used to laugh, dismiss you, find ways to explain you away. Now they choose their words carefully. Now they hesitate before they speak, because they don't know how you do it. And what people don't understand, they fear. You make them uncomfortable, not because you've done anything to them, but because you exist outside their control. They whisper when you're not around. How did they know? There's no way they figured that out. Did someone tell them? They don't understand that you don't need anyone to tell you. The energy shifts before the words do. You feel the truth before they try to bury it. That terrifies them more than the truth itself. They think they're being subtle, shuffling schedules, changing plans, shifting conversations just out of your reach. Meetings are suddenly moved, rescheduled, forgotten to be sent your way. Yet somehow, you still know. You bring up the exact issue they thought you wouldn't catch. You speak on the decision before they even announce it. You move like someone who has already been briefed, and that unsettles them, because in their world, information is power. And if they don't control how you get it, they don't control you. At first, you ignore it. The stolen glances, the hushed conversations that fall silent when you pass by, the sudden interest in your methods, but then it escalates. You notice the way they linger after meetings, watching how you move, the way their eyes narrow when you speak, not because they're listening, but because they're studying you. They don't just want to know what you know, they want to know how, because this doesn't make sense. You shouldn't be able to see through the cracks so effortlessly. You shouldn't be able to predict their next steps before they take them. You shouldn't be able to speak as if you were in the room they locked you out of. But you do. And the more it happens, the more paranoid they become. They start turning on each other. It can't be you. That would be impossible. There must be an informant, a traitor, someone feeding you information behind the scenes. They watch their own team more closely, interrogate conversations, tighten their circles, but it doesn't matter, because you don't need an informant. You never did. You move through the chaos untouched, unbothered, unaffected. They scramble to contain the leaks that don't exist. They question loyalties that were never broken. And the entire time you sit in silence, watching them unravel. Because the truth is simple. You don't need access to their conversations. You already know. You don't accuse. You don't need to. The ones who talk the loudest suddenly have nothing to say. Their confidence, once effortless, now feels forced. They glance at you, then away, fidgeting, adjusting, avoiding. It's not what you say. It's what they feel when you're near. Because guilt has a weight, and in your presence they feel every ounce of it. They keep their voices steady, their smiles rehearsed, their words carefully measured, but the body betrays what the mouth won't admit. The subtle clearing of a throat, the restless hands, the darting eyes, the sudden irritation as if your existence alone disrupts their comfort. They convince themselves you're the problem, that you're watching them too closely, that you know too much, but you never said a word. They're the ones who gave themselves away. Hebrews chapter 4 verse 13 declares it plainly. Nothing in all creation is hidden from God's sight. Everything is uncovered and laid bare. And that's exactly how they feel around you, laid bare. Like all their carefully constructed lies, all their secret betrayals, all their unspoken sins are suddenly exposed. Not because you accuse them, but because deep down they already know what they've done. You are proof they will never escape it. They think you're guessing. They're wrong. They think you're lucky. They don't realize you're reading them in real time. They mistake your intelligence for something supernatural, when in reality your awareness is simply advanced. You don't need visions. You don't need spells. Your mind is a machine built for precision. It picks up on the details they ignore, the ones they assume no one notices, and they don't understand how you do it. Because when you call something out before it happens, they don't see the invisible process working in your mind, a twitch of the mouth, a microsecond hesitation before they answer, the tightening of a jaw, the way their voice lifts just slightly at the end of a sentence, lie, hesitation, hidden intention. You don't have to think about it. Your brain does the math before you even realize it's calculating. You see patterns, repeated behaviors, inconsistencies, the way they change their stance when they're hiding something, the way they laugh too hard when they're trying to cover discomfort. Most people don't see these things. You do. And that's why they can't lie to you. They try to rationalize it. There must be an explanation. They start watching you as closely as you watch them, trying to catch the trick, the method, the moment you slip up. But you never do, because this isn't a trick. It's simply the way your brain works. Studies show that people with heightened intuition make decisions faster and more accurately than others, without even knowing how. It's not magic. It's not guessing. It's an ability, one that's always working, always processing, always one step ahead, and they can't handle that. They want to believe in luck, because if it's just luck, then they don't have to feel threatened. But luck didn't predict their next move before they made it. Luck didn't see through their lies before they spoke them. Luck didn't catch the shift in their energy before they even knew what they were about to do. That was you, and the scariest part for them, you don't even have to try. Hello, Chosen One, look at your life. Now look at ours, back at your life. Now back at ours. Sadly, you're not in the Obsidian Inner Order, but you could be. Picture this, weekly group calls with 450 plus chosen ones, recorded and available anytime for your enlightenment. Our private Discord? It's not just active, it's alive, buzzing with ideas, breakthroughs, and that unstoppable chosen energy. Oh, and for you romantics out there, welcome to Chosen Singles, where soulmates meet under cosmic alignments, not cheap pickup lines. And if that's not enough, Star Chamber members unlock exclusive interviews with bona fide targeted individuals who faced the darkest trials and survived to tell the tale. Plus, our video specials. Too bold, too raw, too spicy for YouTube. This isn't just a community, it's a revolution of soul and spirit. Look at your DMs. Now back at me. The link to join, it's in the description. Don't just swipe right on destiny. Claim it. The Obsidian Inner Order. Smell like ascension. Feel like magic. Live like a chosen one. They don't know what else to do. They've tried ignoring you. That didn't work. They've tried pretending you're irrelevant. That failed too. Now they've turned to desperation because people fear what they can't control. And you are untouchable. They can't manipulate you. You see through them. They can't deceive you. You catch their lies before they leave their lips. And now, the only option left is to destroy your credibility. Because if they can't make you doubt yourself, they'll try to make others doubt you instead. They whisper your name in rooms you've never stepped into. They paint you as a liar, a manipulator, someone who twists the truth instead of seeing it. They're just making things up. They think they're special, but they're delusional. They always act like they know everything. Who do they think they are? The words spread like wildfire. Cowards never fight openly. They attack from the shadows, and yet none of it sticks. Because the ones who have seen you in action, they know the truth. You've never needed to prove yourself. You just exist, and that is enough. So when the gossip fails, when people still come to you, when your presence continues to shake their foundations, they escalate. If they can't make people doubt you, they'll try to remove you altogether. Doors quietly close, invitations stop coming, conversations end the moment you enter the room. Meetings happen without you, plans shift behind your back. They hope you'll disappear, that without a place to stand you'll lose your power. But what they don't realize is, you don't need their spaces. You were never dependent on their approval, their validation, their so-called acceptance. They remove you from their circles, yet your influence only grows. The people who matter, they find you anyway. The truth you carry, it doesn't need an audience to exist. And so, when this fails too, they get desperate. This is when they reveal who they truly are. When gossip doesn't work, when isolation backfires, when every effort to weaken you only makes you stronger, they turn to something darker. They whisper curses under their breath, send energy laced with envy, resentment, and ill intent. They plot, sabotage, manipulate, anything to break your spirit. They think you don't notice, but you do. You feel the shift before it even arrives, the weight pressing against your energy field, the unnatural exhaustion, the tension in the air. They think they can attack you in silence. They don't realize you have never been unprotected. Everything they send rebounds. The darkness they release finds its way back to them. Because the power they fight isn't just yours. It was never just yours. And now they know. They can't stop you. They never could. They built an illusion, and they thought it would hold. The whispered lies, the carefully crafted rumors, the stories twisted just enough to make people doubt you. It was supposed to be airtight, unquestionable. A structure strong enough to erase your credibility, to make sure no one listened to you again. But lies have weight, and when you stack too many on top of each other, they crumble. You notice it first in the small things, the way they pause before answering, the subtle corrections, the awkward moments when two versions of their truth collide. Wait, I thought you said, no, that's not what I meant. The cracks start showing. The more they try to fix it, the worse it gets, because lies demand maintenance. The truth never does. You don't even have to say a word, you just watch. It started as a game, a plan to take you down. Now they don't trust each other. The same way they questioned you, they start questioning themselves. What if they're the one who slips up? What if they expose the lie to cover themselves? What if they turn against me first? The whispers grow quieter. The alliances weaken. The ones who once laughed at your expense now sit in silence, wondering who will betray them first, because they've seen what happens when lies collapse, and none of them want to be buried under the weight of it. A proverb declares the truth they refuse to believe. A liar will not be believed, even when he speaks the truth. Now that's their reality. They tried to silence you, tried to erase your presence, discredit your voice, make sure no one listened. But the ones with eyes to see, they found you anyway. They don't carry the same fear, the same resistance, the same desperate need to control. They aren't trapped by the old rules. They see through the lies, the smokescreens, the whispers meant to turn them away. And they come to you, not out of fear, but curiosity. Because where others saw something to destroy, they see something to learn from. They listen when you speak, not with skepticism, but with focus. They don't flinch at the things that unsettled the older ones. They don't run from the truth. They lean into it. How do you see what you see? How do you know before it happens? What else are they trying to hide from us? They don't fear your abilities. They recognize them. And the more they learn from you, the less control the old guard has. You were never meant to be silenced. You were meant to be heard. They used to decide what was real and what wasn't. If they didn't understand it, it wasn't valid. If it didn't fit their version of reality, it didn't exist. And for a while they got away with it. They spoke with certainty. They controlled the narrative. They dismissed what they couldn't explain and expected everyone else to follow. But then you proved them wrong. Their authority is cracking. Their influence is fading because people are watching you. The whispers used to be enough. They could discredit you with a smirk, a joke, a well-placed lie. Oh, they're just guessing. That's just coincidence. It's all in their head. But too many people have seen it now. Too many have watched your predictions unfold, your insights land with impossible accuracy. Too many have questioned, if you were wrong, why do you keep being right? And that's a question they have no answer for. You don't argue. You don't fight for control. You just continue, unaffected, while their grip on power weakens. They scramble to hold on, but the harder they cling, the faster it falls apart, like sand slipping through their fingers, and there's nothing they can do to stop it. They thought they had won. They whispered your name with venom, spun stories designed to bury you, convinced others to turn against you, convinced themselves you would fall. But they never understood who they were dealing with, because every move they made against you, it didn't weaken you, it refined you. They thought their words would spread like wildfire, consuming your reputation, burning down everything you built. Instead, the fire turned on them. The ones who believed them now see through them. The ones who spread the rumors are now the ones questioned. The web of deception they wove has become their own trap. You didn't lift a finger. They tried to shut you out, but in the silence you sharpened. Your intuition grew. Your discernment became lethal. The solitude they forced on you, it only made you stronger. And now as you step back into the world, you are untouchable. The energy, the curses, the manipulation, all of it rebounds. They feel the weight of their own intentions, the pressure of their own attacks. They suffer the very destruction they wished upon you. You walk away, untouched. You never sought revenge. You never had to. The weight of their own actions was always going to bring them down. They thought they were untouchable, that their lies would never catch up to them, that their schemes would never be exposed. But justice doesn't ask for permission. It moves unstoppable. They are living their consequences. What you sow, you will reap. Galatians chapter 6 verse 7 declares it clearly. They sowed deception, and now they are drowning in their own lies. They planted doubt in others, and now no one trusts them. They built their power on falsehoods, and now their foundation crumbles beneath them. One by one, the truth finds them. The people they manipulated turn against them. The allies they relied on vanish. The reputation they fought to protect rots from the inside out. You never had to strike. They destroyed themselves. While they crumble, you rise. Because truth does not need to fight. It only needs time, and time always delivers justice. You never fought for their approval. You never needed their validation. They slandered, plotted, and worked tirelessly to erase you. But you remained, unshaken, unmoved, unbothered. The truth did what it always does. It surfaced, it stood on its own. It exposed every deception without your interference. Some will regret what they did in silence. They will remember the doubt, the mockery, the resistance, and realize too late that you were never the fool. The rest, they will disappear, swallowed by the weight of their own actions. You didn't need to lower yourself to their games. You didn't argue. You didn't explain. You didn't beg for understanding. Your presence alone dismantled them. Your silence was not submission. It was power. And now they sit in the ruins of their own making, while you move forward, undimmed. Let them talk. Let them scramble. Let them fall. You have nothing to prove. You never did. Have you experienced this? How did it unfold for you? Drop your story in the comments. Your truth deserves to be heard.